there's been a country which has done some surveys for high schools, and they've found that 56% of students consider homework as a primary source of stress. These students reported that the demands of homework caused sleep deprivation and other health problems, as well as less time for friends, family, and extracurricular pursuits. Now, that's not an unusual situation. We have seen that across the world. There are there are philosophies around reducing and creating a ban on homework and reducing the amount of pressure and stress on these young generations by removing expectations. Can I ask how you take this perspective with your school?
I strongly believe that the notion that we have to listen to our kids and we got to let them be kids when they're younger and let them do whatever they need to and not worry about the homework, I don't think that's correct. Because when kids are not doing homework, they be spending their time in either playing game or they're doing something silly where they talk to their friends or other strangers around the world on the social media, on the internet platform. So human beings are creatures such that when they are not clear, when they don't have the wisdom, they have a lot of doubts and they have a lot of worries. Whether they're children or whether they're adults, they're the same. Most human beings need to do something that is meaningful and that is relevant in their life. If you don't have a task for an adult to do that is meaningful, that adult will fall off the same way that a young child will fall off. So young children who just start life they will have a cleaner, more pure mind. If I say pure, if I may use that word pure. So it's important that adults stand up with their moral responsibility and then put expectations forward to the children so that they can actually spend their time wisely. Of course, we're not expecting the children to work, full time when they're awake and do their studies and do their work. It's impossible, just the same way that an adult cannot sit down 8 hours a day, just work. But we need to have a realistic expectations to be set to the children so that they can actually learn and develop and grow their intelligence as well as their wisdom and morality. Okay, so at our school, to answer your question, we realize that there's a lot of problem when we take in new enrollments, and most of those problems is that when we take a student on board and we assess them first, we talk to them, and then we look at their reports. A lot of the reports seems to show that they're quite able students. But that when they do our assessment, they seem to perform quite poorly. Right? And I think this is clearly due to the fact that a lot of schools now have been more lax, and therefore their assessment standard may have gone more lower, and therefore the students are getting an inflated false belief that they are doing well, when in fact they are not doing so well. So in our school, we realize we put the expectations to the student to actually do their work, get the task that they need to covered that is required by the national curriculum. And so we're not afraid to set the homework. We're not afraid to tell the parents, look, your kid's got to do that homework, got to get this work done. Because they spend 6 years in high school, they spend 6 years in primary school. After that, they're on their own, and they got to go to the workforce. They got to be able to say to their employer, they got to be able to prove to their employer that they can do the work. Because if they can't do the work, they will get fired.
And I want to pull up some interesting statistics for people to have a look at. So these are reported figures for Australians, and regarding youth mental health problems. So firstly, it says that suicide is the biggest killer of young Australians, and that over 75% of mental health problems occur before the age of 25. And that 1 in every 10 young people aged 12 to 17, so that's around high school period, so 1 in every 10 young people will have self-harmed 1 in 13 will have seriously considered suicide, and that 1 in 40 will have attempted suicide. Can you comment on these, on what's happening in that reality behind school reports and behind the scenes of what kids look like?
If you look at the average wealth, or I guess amount of luxury that the average person now have in the first world country. Now I'm not talking about the rich people, I'm just talking about the average people, or just people below the average. If you compare them to, if you go back 200-300 years and you compare them to like royalties or kings and queens who had, who were living the best kind of life back then. Those king and queen in the old days, when they want entertainment, they need to book some entertainers to come into their palace and then perform their dance or their drama or whatever for them. If they wanted to have somebody singing, they have to wait for a couple of days to get the singers walking to them to get to their palace and sing. In the modern world, especially in the first world, children and families have access to entertainers at a touch of their finger. All they have to do is press a button on the screen, and then they have world-class entertainers coming in to entertain them. And because parents feel that that's what they can give to their kids, the expectations reduces. And when you reduce the expectations for the children to learn how to live life in the real way, they lose the skill sets in life to develop to become strong people. So, for example, the idea that schools and parents and society and the media has been talking about, positive reinforcement, positive talk. You can't always give kids positive talk, because if they are wrong and you're still giving positive talk, because the positive talk, if not done skillfully, is nothing but lies. And when you lie to a kid, you give them a false sense of belief. If we don't do it in a skillful way, and that's the key, skillful way, it is actually poisonous. And I think a lot of adults, especially parents, when they turn on the news, they watch the media and they see that everybody have to talk about, you can't speak the truth to a person anymore because it becomes a hate speech. So when that kind of, when the society become like that, a lot of our young children are actually being shielded in kind of a glass room where they can't experience the strengthening of their body by experiencing the reality of life. So from that point, that's why I'm not surprised by the statistics of the high suicide rate. I'm not surprised because, when kids get out of school, they have to go to work and they have to be employed, and then they're not going to be kept if they can't do a thing. No employer is going to pay you and then tell you nice things when you're unable to do anything. That will set them into depression. That will set them into suicidal mode. But the unfortunate thing is these kids are already experiencing this depression and this state of hurting themselves at primary school level, at high school level. Okay, because they are so used to getting this kind of gratification from their likes, from their positive talk. Because they can't get enough through their positive reinforcement from parents or teachers, they go out into the social media world and then put on a false image to hope to get instant gratification through likes. This is why you're also experiencing the suicide attempt or the attempt to hurt themselves even at teenage level, even younger.